Good evening. I'm Xiaoli Li. Thank you for joining us. One of the men hoping to lead the federal Conservative Party was in Thunder Bay earlier today. Over at Lakehead University, one of the 14 leadership hopefuls was talking about his plans for the country. Rick Peterson is just one of two candidates in the CPC leadership race who's not currently a member of Parliament. The Vancouver-based venture capitalist wants to focus on growing the party and the economy. His goal, increase GDP by $200 million a year, something he says can be done by cutting corporate income tax and raising sales taxes.
GST goes from 5 to 9, and we scale back government spending. We cut back government spending. So it's the combination of the two.
Do you have any idea which programs would be?
No, there's, all the MPs who I'm standing with on the stage tell me that absolutely those cuts are doable. And coming from the private sector, we're used to pulling in the strings when we need to, and I look forward to doing that.
Peterson also talked about creating an open carry handgun license for people who hunt and fish. He also expressed an interest in a concealed carry license for off-duty workers who use firearms in their day jobs, such as police. Meanwhile, another federal Conservative leadership candidate made a stop in Murillo earlier this week. Pierre Lemieux says he wants to grow the party and make it more appealing to young people who are open to discussing difficult topics. Lemieux made a campaign stop at the Murillo Town Hall. The social conservative who opposes abortion and same-sex marriage is one of 14 candidates vying for the party leadership. Lemieux served as an MP in the Ottawa area from 2006 to 2015 and is a 20-year military veteran. He says freedom of speech is under attack in this country and feels that Canadians, especially young Canadians, are ready for a change.
I have a lot of exciting ideas. As leader, I want to bring in new Canadians into our party along with their ideas and their ideals and their energy. We need to attract youth. I'm the father of 5 children, 4 of which are young adults, so I know how to interact with youth and to bring them into the party and, of course, to take their energy and harness it to winning the election in 2019.
The Conservative Party is set to select a new leader on May 27th. A First Nations Employment and Training Center in Thunder Bay celebrated the graduation of 63 First Nations students this past week. The KKETS Learning Center on Cumberland Street helps educate people from the 9 Matawa communities. Louisa Alvarez reports.
This is the KKETS Aboriginal Skills and Development Services graduating class of 2017. Here at this ceremony held at the Valhalla Inn, they wear their graduate caps proud, as they are recognized for successfully completing the ASAP program and receive their Ontario High School diploma. Now they can continue to further their education by going to college or university. The Aboriginal Advancement Program is a one-of-a-kind educational and training program. Funded by KKETS, it aims at preparing Matawa Indigenous students with the appropriate skills to be successful in the workforce in a way that embraces their heritage.
The importance of being educated is a realization that's happening today amongst our First Nation people. But we also have to educate our people in our way, in our traditional way of life too, like in amongst the forests and the rivers and the lands that we occupy.
The students walking the stage have overcome adversity and traveled away from home in pursuit of an education. These are students from the remote Matawa First Nations communities. Valedictorian Caleb Shaganash followed in the footsteps of his family members, who also graduated from the ASAP program. He says seeing them continue their education inspired him to do the same.
It means a lot. I'm actually graduating, finishing my school, open up more doors to different opportunities.
It's a big accomplishment, I guess you can say, like a milestone.
Many of them also completed their post-secondary entrance requirements and will soon enroll in post-secondary programs, such as the Ring of Fire Aboriginal Training Alliance, for those wanting to get into trades. Louisa Alvarez, TBT News.
Well, March is National Engineering Month, and local engineers are doing their bit to promote the industry by helping out the next generation. Nordman Engineering worked with local Girl Guides today at their offices. There were nearly 50 girls in attendance for the Guides Engineering Badge Day. Girls in attendance will each get a merit badge for their work. The Guides built structures out of marshmallows and toothpicks, bridges with popsicle sticks and glue, and even used 3D modeling software to design campgrounds. The activities were designed to introduce them to careers in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and math.
When you look at science and technology, those disciplines, there is far less than 50% participation of women in those careers. So we always hope to get to girls before or at the junior high school level to encourage them, to help them realize that science is fun. It doesn't have to be frightening, math isn't scary, and they can go into it.
They need to know what they want to do when they're older. So if they open their eyes to something when they're younger, then they can have more time to think about it.
Nordman Engineering ran the same event last year with the Guides. Organizers say they plan to continue holding this event in the future. Well, the relationship between cab drivers and the public has been under the microscope in the Maritimes after a Halifax cab driver was acquitted of sexually assaulting an unconscious passenger. But this week, another cabbie is being hailed as a hero after helping a woman who was assaulted by a pedestrian. Ron Shaw reports.
That's what I was thinking the whole time, is that he cannot get away with it.
It was just after 4 o'clock Friday afternoon. Amer Abdo had just taken the second call of his shift. He was driving down Inglis with 2 passengers in the back seat.
2 blocks ahead of me, I kind of saw what looked like two couples fighting. And then when I got closer, it was this big guy that slammed a younger girl, student, to the ground next to a tree.
Adrenaline pumping, he slammed on the brakes, backed up, and confronted the man.
And I said, what are you doing? And he just looked at me aggressively and just walked away.
He helped the young woman off the sidewalk and got her into his cab. The circumstances were unusual. The young female victim was walking and texting at the same time. She almost bumped into the suspect. He then became enraged. The young woman safely in the taxi, he followed the man down the street to this gas station. They called police, waiting until they arrived. It's the kind of story the local taxi industry could use right now. There were protests earlier this month after a cab driver was acquitted on a charge of sexually assaulting a female passenger who had too much to drink. The Crown announced it would appeal the decision after comments by the judge prompted a public outcry. The co-owner of the taxi company says she's proud of this driver.
There's so many bad news stories about drivers that have hit the media, but the reality is that that's just such a small percentage of the drivers. We actually have really great, amazing drivers every day who are really caring.
Police have made an arrest and charged a man with assault.
The 40-year-old male suspect will appear in court here in Halifax on May 23rd.
The victim was shaken up, crying, and covered with dirt, but otherwise all right. She was taken to the police station to make a statement. Driver Amer Abdu says he was surprised that nearby pedestrians made no effort to intervene.
Well, back here in the Northwest, theater lovers can expect a new season full of exciting shows and big changes at Thunder Bay's Magnus Theater. Under the guidance of artistic director Tom Curry, Magnus will be the first professional theater in Canada to perform the full version of We Will Rock You, a musical featuring 20 hit songs from Queen.
We Will Rock You is more of a traditional musical, using the music of Queen, completely approved by Queen. Sort of thing, and it's it's not an easy show to do. It's a big show for Magnus, but I think the patrons here will really appreciate it. And it's one of those things that I just kind of went, yeah, you know what? We want something a little edgier.
That show will debut in September and is the first of 6 on tap for next season. Magnus will also be launching a new logo at the same time. Curry says the logo will prominently feature the steeple on the historic theater building. And Thunder Bay will show off its artistic side tonight as the north side of town will be transformed into a massive live art exhibit for the 11th edition of Urban Infill. The art show and experience, staged by Definitely Superior Art Gallery, transforms over 25 locations in the Port Arthur downtown core into art exhibitions. Everything from drag shows and wearable art to window performances, interactive media, and conventional visual art will be on display and open for viewing to the public.
I hope that people will get the sense that by simply attending like an event like this, they are literally helping to transform and create Thunder Bay into the kind of arts and cultural place that we want it to be. Each year has a really unique feel, and it's a really unique experience, and I think people really love it. People are now coming back annually, and I think that says something. There's a magic there that's created between the artists and the audience.
The show runs from 7 o'clock to 11 tonight. Guided tours start at 7:30 at the Definitely Superior Art Gallery, while there's also an after party planned for the end of the night. And I know a few guys who aren't necessarily planning their parties tonight, but are, well, might be. The Minnesota Wild looking to lock up that postseason berth. What do we got, Ryan?
Yeah, they had a chance to do it this afternoon. They just needed a win against the Vancouver Canucks. I'll tell you if they could accomplish that after the break.
Drives the puck in, get right in front, here's a chance for Stoll, he scores!